This episode is brought to you by Heyday. Feeling stressed? Take a moment for yourself with Heyday. Stroll through rows of golden wheat, tend to cute barnyard animals, and discover the joys of a digital farm retreat. You don't have to hop in a car or catch a plane. Escape to the farm at the tap of a finger. With Heyday, you're not just tending to a farm, you're tending to yourself. Heyday. Search Heyday, that's Hay space DAY, in your favorite app store. Heyday is a free-to-play mobile game and offers optional in-app purchases and random rewards.
Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
Hello everybody and welcome back to my podcast, Esme's Country Life. In today's episode, I'm going to be telling you all about my trip to the USA where I went to Kentucky and New York. A lot happened. It was also a trip with my dad, so that was interesting. But before we begin, I just want to say a huge thank you to the sponsor of the podcast, Red Post. Red Post is an equestrian and country store based in the UK, but they also ship all over the world. And I have a little new product alert, because some of you might have heard that the Eclipse back protector by Charles Owen is now out. I've actually been secretly testing it out over the last couple of months, but I can now chat about it, and they do stock it at Red Post. Now, if you want to know what is this Eclipse back protector, Esme? Now, this is for people who normally don't ride or normally ride without a body protector, but they want a little bit of added protection. So it looks like a gilet, it's sneaky, it's secret, but in the back, there is a hidden back protector to protect your spine, because we all know your spine is very important. You want to protect that. So if you want more information, be sure to go to redpostequestrian.co.uk. Anyway, let's get into today's podcast episode, because as promised, I have a lot to update you on. In the last one, I'm pretty sure I said that I was going to the US, and we booked this trip a long time ago. We booked it like before Christmas, because I did do a lot of meet and greets out in Kentucky at the Kentucky 3-day event, and obviously we wanted to let everyone know that I was going way in advance, especially as like we wanted it before Christmas as well, because I know that at Christmas time a lot of families kind of plan like, oh, if they're going to go on holiday or vacation, like, or to a horse show, that's kind of normally the time, well, that's what my family does. Around that time we're like, okay, if we're going to go on a family holiday, where are we going and when? So it's been a long time coming. I went last year and I was very grateful to go back again. So shout out to Charles Owen and also Lemieux for making the trip to Kentucky possible. As you guys know, they're also my sponsors that are also stocked at Red Post. But anyway, sorry. On to the trip. Now, the actual trip there, I got a story just from getting to our destination, because there aren't actually that many flights from England to Kentucky, especially as, well, we didn't actually fly to Kentucky. We flew to Ohio. So technically I was in 3 different states, but we weren't really in Ohio very long. We just kind of landed there, drove through. But anyway, so we flew to Cincinnati. And yeah, there aren't many flights there. So it's not like pick and choose what date there'll be a flight there. It's, we have certain flights on certain days. You have to go for these ones, or just, you know, you're not going. Anyway, so I was doing meet and greets at the show on the Saturday and the Sunday, and the only real flight around that time was to fly in the Friday before. It was either the Friday before or like the Monday before, and then I would have had like loads of days in Kentucky, away from the horses, away from my family, away from work, because I don't know if anybody else has this, but I always, now I'm an adult. I mean, I've been an adult for a little while now. I'm 23, but I always find before you go away, you have to work like twice as hard to get everything done. And then when you come back, you have to work like twice as hard to catch up on everything. So I was like, okay, you know what? We're going to risk it. We're going to go for the Friday, the night before flight, and hope it doesn't get cancelled and I get there in time. Now, so I was a little bit on edge, because I was like, okay, if anything goes wrong with this flight, then I'm going to be letting a lot of people down. So I really hope that does not happen. So this is kind of the only flight that I could get. So got on, everything seemed fine. The only thing that was like a little bit of a red flag was I always find if I've ever had a plane cancelled or ever had a plane like severely delayed, it's always been an evening flight. Because in the evening, especially as it was a Friday afternoon evening as well, which most people, especially plane technicians, they want to be at home with their family or going out. They don't want to be at the airport on a Friday afternoon or a Friday evening, do they? So I was like, oh, this might be a bit of a red flag. So also, first red flag, got to the airport. Normally it says like, go to gate or gate information at this time. Our flight number, everything, and then nothing. No info. We were a little bit like, oh, okay, we don't know our gate number, and like it went on for a little while, and we were like, oh, it's a little feeling a little anxious. Anyway, gate number came, all was good, got there, got on the plane. Then we'd been on the plane for a little while, and we were like, oh, normally, captain is like, hello everyone, I'm Captain blah-de-blah, we're going to here today, hope you're all having a good time, they do their little speaky, chatty, hey guys, welcome to my channel, kind of thing. And anyway, that did not happen. And we're like, oh, okay. So, because I've recently read the new Hunger Games book, I say the new one, it's like the prequel, but anyway, so that's been my like latest obsession recently. So I thought, I'll go and watch the old Hunger Games films. It's been a little while since I last watched them. So I ended up literally watching a whole film before our plane took off. That's how scary it was. Luckily. So what happened was the captain was like, so we have a technical difficulty, which is the last thing you want to hear when you get on a plane. Luckily, the technicians, they came along. So big up the technicians. They were like, oh yeah, we've got some water leak. There's some sort of fluid leakage. And I was like, oh, again, not what you want to hear when you get on a plane. But all was well. Whatever fluid leakage was not leaking anymore. All was fixed, and we managed to take off, all was well. But our plane was like 2 hours delayed, but you know what? We got there safely, and I got there. I didn't have to stay at a hotel near the airport and get a flight the next day. It was all good. We got there on time. It did mean that Dad and I, who were, number one, already quite jet-lagged, I think we landed in Kentucky, no, not Kentucky, Ohio. We landed there probably at what would have been like midnight in the UK, and we are both in bed tucked up asleep at 9 o'clock or 9 p.m. kind of people, so it was already like a little bit of a late night. I tried to sleep on the plane. I probably slept for about an hour. I am normally quite good at napping. So anyway, then after that it was the scary time. I don't know what it is. There's something about US border control freaks me out. I mean, I'm not a criminal. I've done nothing wrong, and they're just looking for criminals. But every time I go through, I don't know what it is. Like anything with authority just freaks me out. I remember even going to Florida when I was 11, on holiday, and then being like, "Are these your parents?" And then like doing all the fingerprint scanning and taking a photo and that kind of thing. I don't know. It's just different anyway. And also the guy before us, he got sent into a room for questioning. So Dad and I were just like, oh my gosh. Anyway, went through, all was well. But one thing I do have to say, those queues for border control in the US, I have never been in one that's shorter than like 2 hours. You're waiting a long time. So anyway, got on through. I mean, the security, they're doing their job. They're doing a thorough job. Anyway, went on through, and then we were like, finally, oh, perfect. Our bags were there, picked up our bags, ready to go and get our hire car. Nope. No. There was more, even more, because maybe this happened last time and I talked about it in my last podcast going to the US. Maybe I've just like completely blanked it out my brain, but I have never had this before. Like I am in a very, very fortunate and lucky position and privileged position that I've been able to travel a lot with my job and go to lots of different countries. But I've never had it before where you pick up your suitcases, you've gone through border control, they've checked your passports, all lovely jubbly. And then they're like, okay, you need to go through security again. And I was like, what? What do you mean you have to go through security again? And they were like, yep. So anyway, had to put our cases on this conveyor belt. They had to go and be x-rayed. And then we went through security again, which I understand. They don't want us bringing anything naughty into the country. But I've just never had this before. I was just a bit shocked. I was like, whoa, wasn't expecting that, especially after waiting so long. But anyway, all was well. We got through, got our hire car. And what was quite funny was, I don't know if anybody else does this when they go to a foreign country, or if you've ever been to a foreign country before, but my favourite thing is listening to the local radio stations, because it just makes you feel like you're like not in your home country. For example, like when I was a kid, this is before the Bluetooth days. This is when, like, if you want to listen to your own music in a car, you'd have to bring a little CD and put it in. Maybe even in some of my dad's real old cars, you'd have like a cassette tape? Yep, you'd have to put a little cassette tape in. Back in the day, my dad would take me to swimming lessons and we'd be listening to hardcore rock. Anyway, so that was my childhood. But anyway, yes, so normally when I was like a kid on holiday and we had a little hire car, if it was, in the UK, a lot of people go on holiday to Europe because it's so close. You can literally drive there through the Channel Tunnel. But anyway, when you're in a foreign country, just tune into the foreign country radio station. It'll be great. It'd really make you feel like, yeah. So anyway, we ended up listening to country music for however long the car journey was. And yeah, the 2-hour car journey. And my dad, I think by the end of it, he was starting to lose the plot. He was like, I'm jet lagged. I'm tired. I'm driving on the wrong side of the road, listening to this country music. Oh my gosh. Also the rain on the way there was intense. So luckily I was chatting to a lot of my friends and sponsors and people that were already at the horse show the next day, and they were like, yeah, you did not miss much on the Friday on dressage day, because apparently it was just like monsoon level rain. The rain was just, beaten down. So apparently we didn't miss too much by not going on the Friday, which I was a little bit upset about, but again, that was the only real day that made sense flight wise. So yes. Anyway, we were driving on the wrong side. Well, no, we were on the correct side of the road for the US, but for us, it's the wrong side of the road. In this rain, in the dark as well. And honestly, the windscreen wipers could not go fast enough. They were zooming. So anyway, made it to our hotel. All was good. Got into bed. Passed out. Next morning, you'd think after. Also, I think by the time we got to our hotel was kind of, like 1 a.m. Kentucky time. So I don't know what time that would have been in the UK, probably like 6 a.m. kind of thing. So we kind of did an all-nighter. No, but we did go to sleep, and I still woke up very early the next day because jet lag was jet lagging. So anyway, first day of the event, excited to be there, to be back. The way I would describe the event, I know I said this last time, for people who have not listened to my Kentucky USA trip from last year, it's a bit like badminton horse trials, but in America. So it's like their big 5-star event, but for show jumping, or out there they call it stadium, they literally have like this huge stadium. So like the actual grounds are incredible at the Kentucky Horse Park, when in the UK it's literally just in a field with some like seating that's temporary that they just pop up and down. Like this is like a proper big old stadium, but it's a lot quieter than UK events. And I know in America, it's like, it's the biggest event, it's the coolest event. Like, it is very cool. But compared to UK when it comes to numbers, Kentucky has about 30,000 people on cross country day, when in the UK, the big UK events normally have 300,000 people. Just for comparison, not to show off being like, I'm from the UK and our events, but not like that. But I would say Kentucky is better because it means that you can go to a cross-country event or a cross-country jump and you don't have to stand behind 10 people to get a glimpse. Because it's quieter, it means that, and I know people that normally go to Kentucky but like, Esme, what do you mean it's not quiet? I mean, it isn't quiet, it's still busy. There's a lot of shopping as well, a lot of trade stands. But you can just see the jumps a lot better. Anyway, especially the water jumps. The water jumps in the UK, you have to get there at like 5 a.m. and camp out and find your spot. If not, you're not going to see it. Anyway, so moving on. Then I had my meet and greet, and you guys, you always are such a lovely crowd, especially in the US. You guys were so lovely. So many of you brought me drawings and pictures, and it was so sweet, and you were all so lovely. So yeah, was awesome. Was such a good meet and greet. I had one with Lemieux on the Saturday, and then I also had one with Charles Owen on the Sunday. Which was nice because it made sure that I got to see everybody. And then I'm trying to wrap my brain around what I did. Normally at these horse shows like this, it's like one thing, another thing. So we filmed a lot of stuff for socials, did lots of bits and bobs. One thing about those horse shows though is that, especially like big eventing events, I am not allowed to film any of the competition. And you might be thinking, Esme, what do you mean? Are you like banned or something? No. So because a lot of these events are televised on certain live stream platforms, they own the rights to all of the videos. So I could only take photos. So that is why there is no Kentucky vlog, because the exciting part, which is the actual people riding the horses, not me, we weren't allowed to film. So that is why. I think there are different kind of laws or different things for certain events. Or so some events they allow you to film, but you're not allowed to film like a whole show jumping round. Some allow you to only film like under a amount of seconds or a number of fences. So that is one thing about working in media in the horse world. You've got to be up to date and know your laws on what you can and can't film. So anyway, that is why we mainly did photos. I did like a Kentucky photo dump rather than here's a cool reel. So anyway, that is why. The more you know. So yeah, and then also one of my highlights that I found so much fun was I did like this giveaway with Lemieux, and so in my kind of queue when I was like signing and taking photos of people, meeting you guys, they picked out a sneaky winner, and they got to have like a little shopping spree with me at the shop. So it was a group of lovely girls. So it was the older sister that actually I'm pretty sure was the winner, and then the younger sister was more of the horsey one that had a horse, and then her friend was also there as well, and they're also lovely. And I have never felt like I had such big sister energy, because I was a little naughty. So so it was supposed to be one person to start with. They were like, oh yeah, they can, like the winner can pick out a set kind of thing. Perfect. But because they were all together in a group, they decided to kind of share the prize so they could all pick out an item. So the older sister, she picked out a really cute jacket, which looked so good on her. And then the younger sister was the horsey one. So we were like, cool, let's get a saddle pad. And then the friend picked out like a top. And the girl with the horse, she was like, oh yeah, like this saddle pad. And I was like, I'll get you the ear bonnet as well. And she was like, but they only let me pick one thing. And I was like, well, they said to me that you could have a set, and I feel like a saddle pad and an ear bonnet, that is a set. And she was like, no, she was so sweet. She was like, no, please, like, no. And I was like, if anybody's going to get in trouble, it's going to be me. Let me take the blame for this. I was like, you're having the ear bonnet. So that was quite good fun. And they were, yeah, also lovely. I felt kind of bad because I couldn't stick around for too long, because I was actually jumping from one place to the other, and I realised I'd just been doing some filming for some other people, and I still had the mic on, and this poor lady that I was filming with, she had to get her flight in literally like 5 minutes, so I had to rush off. But that was probably one of my highlights of Kentucky. That was really good fun, doing the shopping with the giveaway winners, and obviously watching the show and everything. Incredible. And the stadium, the atmosphere on stadium day or show jumping day, 10 out of 10. Anyway, so that was our Kentucky experience. We weren't really there for that long. We were there, for the event. And then after that, we got in the car and then drove back to Ohio, back to the Cincinnati airport, stayed at a airport hotel the night before. And we were so tired at this point. We'd jet lagged, hungry. And we arrived at this hotel and we thought, oh, perfect, we'll just eat at the hotel kind of restaurant. My dad sometimes he says in the dad rule book, I don't know where this dad rule book is, but he says that it's the top priority to embarrass your child or your children at all times. So we walked in to this room that was some sort of weird like conference kind of room, and they were like, oh yeah, sorry, our restaurant's being refurbished at the moment, so everyone's having it in here. And dad just walked in and just went, this looks like the world's most rubbish wedding. And I was like, it did look like a really bad wedding, or like a really awful, like dead prom where everyone was over the age of 50 and really miserable and tired. And there was like they had like a little wheel-in TV, so everyone was watching the football game, and dad and I, we're not up to date on American football. And like all of our and because like everything was being refurbished, everything was on like plastic cups and plates and things. And we were just, I don't know, like honestly, that was one of my favourite nights because we just had such a laugh. We found it so funny. My dad's got this photo that he put on the family group chat of like me sitting on this kind of like, you know, those like round kind of wedding prom tables, and dad just stood really, really far away, and it just looked like everyone had left because I was there, and I was just, oh, great wedding, guys. Anyway, so went to bed, then had another early start 4 a.m. start, because we then got a plane to New York. There we go. So yeah, we went to New York. I have been once before when I want to say 13. I think I was, 12, 13. I was in year 8 at school, if that means anything to people. But that year, maybe I was in year 9. Anyway, the time where I went as a child, I had the worst flu I've ever had in my life. It was probably when it comes to like colds and things, probably the most ill I've ever been in my life. So I do remember it, but I was kind of we were only there for like a few days as well, because when we went to New York before, we did like a proper like US road trip where we did New York, and then we flew into Vegas. We didn't actually, go out in Vegas because I was about 12 and my brother was about 10. But we stayed the night there, because then we went and did like a Grand Canyon, Utah, that kind of thing, road trip. But anyway, so before, when I went to New York, I was only there for a couple of days, and I was very, very ill and sickly. I remember being so poorly that I remember saying to my mum, my throat feels like it's bleeding. And she honestly thought I was being a little OTT, a little dramatic. And then she got the cold when we were in Vegas, and she was like, nope, Esme, you were telling the truth. We went to like a show. I can't remember what the show was, but we went to some sort of show. Obviously it was a kid-friendly one, don't worry guys, I was again 12. We went to the show, and I remember it was one of those places where they were like, oh, let's savor this family moment, we'll have this whole family, like this lovely little British family, we'll take a picture of them. And they were like, oh, would you like to buy the photos? My mum, honestly, it was like me and my brother and my dad, we were all like happy and smiling and like laughing in the photo, and then it just looked like this corpse that was next to us. My mum has never been so ill. She was so pale and sickly, like it literally looked like there was just a ghost next to us. And honestly, to this day, we still talk about how we wish we had bought that photo, because it was just so funny about how awful she looked. Like, I know that sounds really mean, but I was that awfully ill in New York, so I went through her pain, but we still laugh about it as a family. Anyway, back to my trip to New York. So, Dad and I, this time now I'm back to adultism. Dad and I arrived, and one thing about, traveling the world with your dad is that a lot of people, and this is very disgusting to say, a lot of people think we're husband and wife, especially as we have the same surname. And I'm like, no. He is my dad. He is my dad. No. So anyway, we have this photo that we took on our first night in New York, having dinner. We went to a nice restaurant, and I'm just holding up my phone, and it just says I'm with my dad. Because one thing that I don't know, I understand it, because obviously there's like a 30-year age gap between us. Like, it is a bit weird, but a lot of the time I really try and say dad or whatever when I'm ordering, because the servers are always so mean to him because they think he's a creepy old man, and I'm like, no, he's my dad. They're always a bit off with him because they think he's a creep, and I'm like, no, he's my dad, and it makes me feel so uncomfortable. So anyway, we had a lot of that in New York, which was a bit weird. Anyway, first day we had a little bit of a chill day because we were tired from the flight, a little bit jet lagged, and we were like, okay, let's just go for a walk, see what we can find, because we are a walking family. I love a good walk. So every time we went for a walk, I said to my dad, let's go for a hot girl walk. And then by the end of the trip, he was saying, oh, should we go on another hot girl walk? So anyway, we I haven't even told you where we stayed. Now, we did because we weren't in New York for very long. We were only there for a few nights. We did stay at a bit more of a spenny, a little bit more of a pricey hotel, but we did get a discount through our friend at the travel agency person. I'm not sure what it's called, but anyway, we were like, hey, can you get us some good hotel? This sounds really dodgy that I've got this guy and I'm like, hey, can you get me a good hotel price? Where do you recommend? So anyway, he was like, oh, I'd recommend here, here, or here. And one of the options that he gave us was the Gossip Girl Hotel. Now, if anybody has watched Gossip Girl, they will know what I'm talking about. It's the one that I'm pretty sure Chuck Bass, his family own, and it's one that Serena's staying in while her family's mega gaff apartment, fancy house gets done up. So anyway, we got to stay at the Gossip Girl hotel. But what was quite funny is Dad kept forgetting the name of the hotel. So if we ever got into a taxi, Dad was like, oh yeah, can you take us to the Gossip Girl hotel? And the taxi driver would be like, what on earth are you talking about? I mean, part of that is probably because he was a bit jet lagged, and I was like, oh no, it's this one. So anyway, that was very exciting for me. I mean, last time I watched Gossip Girl was probably about 10 years ago, so I did rewatch like the whole of the first series on the plane and in the evenings, and just, yeah. So, but one thing I forgot how like catty it was. Like, those girls, they're having some fights and things. I'm like, wow, I forgot how, I mean, most TV shows have drama, but goodness, the drama. Anyway, so, and also I forgot like how old it was, because one thing that made me realize how old, whenever I see like TV shows, I'm like, oh, you can tell this is from a long time ago. Not only because like what phone they have, like if they have like a flip phone or like a non-smartphone, then you can tell it's old. But everyone just calls people. Like if they're like, oh, where are you? Like they just call people. Like nowadays, nobody does that. Or maybe that's just me and my friend group. But I feel like people just don't call each other. It's more of like a text kind of. I feel like everyone texts nowadays. So, or voice notes. I feel like that's the future. A lot of people do voice notes, but sometimes I don't have time for that. If you're leaving me like a 5-minute voice note, you best believe I'm listening to it while doing something else. Sorry to my friends, that sounds really mean. But if I like a text, you can read quite quickly, but a voice note where you're like, I don't know, it's a lot. Anyway, moving on. So we went on our hot girl walk. We went to Central Park, saw all the one of my top tips if you do go to New York is something that Dad and I do when we're on trips together, because sometimes like you're in like an hour taxi from like the airport to wherever you're going. Sometimes the music in the taxi is not the vibe, or sometimes there's no music. Also, one of the things that really gave me a jump scare was every taxi that you got into, there was just like an advert on like a little TV playing. And I've never had that before. And that was wild. And I remember like 5 minutes into the journey, I was like, well, there must be some way of turning the volume off. And I managed to figure it out. And then every time we got into the taxi, straight away, I was like, turn the volume off. Don't want to be listening to these like adverts or commercials. So yeah, what I was recommending was, I have like little earbuds, little cheap Sony ones, because I did go through a stage where I was like, I am not going to buy Bluetooth headphones, because I will just lose them, because they were so small and they were so expensive. So I got myself some cheap ones. And anyway, so I had one in one ear and then my dad had one in the other ear, so we could both listen to the music together. And I put on a playlist. It was just on, I just typed in like New York, and it was like all the kind of New Yorky American kind of songs. And as we were like driving into New York, seeing the skyline, it just made it feel a little bit more magical, listening to the music going on in. I would say it's weird how like not my perception of the city, but day one, it was like, oh my gosh, magical, incredible, so exciting, I'm in the big city, woo woo woo. By the end of the trip, I became introvert, country bumpkin. I need to touch some grass. There's too many people. There's too many cars. Somebody get me a tree. Anyway, so that is one thing that I would say. Like when I first got there, I was like, oh my gosh, I could spend like 2 weeks here. There's so much to do. And yeah, 2 days in, I was like, I need my horses. Anyway, but no, it was incredible. Had such a fun time. So anyway, we arrived. Back to our hot girl walk. So on our hot girl walk through Central Park, looking at all the things, it was so vibey as well, because when we went there, it was such lovely weather. Like honestly, it was about 25, 27 degrees Celsius, not Fahrenheit. Sorry to my Fahrenheit friends. But yes, it was super warm, super lovely. But also, you guys in the US, you love air conditioning and you love ice. One thing that I have noticed since I've come back home is all of my like drinks that I would say is a normal temperature, like room temperature drinks, that's what I'm used to. All of my water tastes warm now, because I'm so used to drinking water that tastes like I'm drinking a block of ice. So there are like a lot of like little culture shocks, or like culture kind of things where like the UK is very different to the US. I think we often forget like how different the two countries are, because obviously we're both speak the same language, we both speak English, and there's a lot of like US films that a lot of UK people watch, or TV shows, or even like content creators, because obviously we speak all the same language. But then when you go out there, it's like, oh wow. I don't know if anybody else finds that. If you're British and you've been to the US, the American accents sound so much more American when you're actually in America. I feel like on the TV, maybe it's just because you get used to like actors' voices and things, but I don't know. A lot of people really struggled to understand what my dad said, so I had to be like his translator, and also he struggled to understand what people say as well. So I was like in the middle ground. One thing that I still always do when I go to America, if I ever say water, nobody understands what I'm saying. I feel like I'm like, I don't know, like it feels really weird, but I do have to sometimes go water. Because they understand me then. I don't know. Sometimes it is quite fun doing an American accent and being like, oh, maybe they think I'm American, or maybe like an international. I feel like a lot of international students kind of have like a bit of American accent. Anyway, so then after our little walk through Central Park, oh yeah, one of the reasons why I thought it was so nice is because everyone was going for like a little cycle or a little run, and I was like, I did bring my gym gear with me. I was like, oh, maybe I could go for a little run in Central Park in the morning, pretend I'm like a New Yorker, that kind of thing. That did not happen because we were doing about 25,000 steps each day, and that was enough for me. I was like, okay, I've definitely got enough steps in. I don't need to be doing a run on top of that, especially in the heat as well, and also in like, I don't like, obviously Central Park doesn't have traffic, but there's still quite a lot of people, you know, milling about in the park. So we're walking along and we're like, oh, what should we do? And I thought, oh, if we carry on walking like up the park, we will be able to go to the Night at the Museum, which I know is not the actual name of the museum, but you guys know which one I'm talking about. Because when I was a child, I don't know if anybody else had this, but when I was younger, this was before streaming platforms. I know I'm showing my age. I know I was born in 2001. I was born in the 21st century. Okay, I'm not that old. But when I was like really small, you would have DVDs, and often like your family would probably have, you know, a handful of DVDs, and you would just have like rotate the same film every now and again. And one of those films that we had on DVD for some reason was Night at the Museum. I have not seen it since I was a child. I was going to watch it one evening, but every evening I fell asleep really early because of jet lag. I was going to watch it, so I haven't watched it since, but I still remember it quite well. So I remember walking into the room at the museum where they have like the elephants and all of the like taxidermy kind of animals, which, I don't know, they kind of freak me out, but also it's probably like, is it ethically better than a zoo? Because obviously the animals aren't alive. They're just like standing there and you can actually get really up close to them and they're not super distressed in an environment that they shouldn't be in. So anyway, it was really fascinating to look at all the animals, and that like room there, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm at the Night in the Museum kind of museum. So that was very cool. Also, top tip, which I don't know if I should be sharing with you guys or not, but because we got there quite late, I think the museum closes at 5:30. That's what it said online anyway when I checked. And we got there at 4:30. And if you get there at 4:30, then they let you in for free. Which, please donate to your museums, because museums are important. We need them to document history and remember the past and learn from our mistakes and all that kind of stuff. And learn about things. So support your museums. But if you're only going to go in for a little bit and you want to save some money, because everything in New York and just in cities in general, like everything in London is overpriced and expensive, and you want to save a few bucks, then go at 4:30 and you get it going for free. You didn't hear it from me. Anyway, so we went in there, had a little whistle stop tour, had a little look around. My favourite bit is looking at the dinosaurs, actually. I think the dinosaurs are the most fun. Also, half of the dinosaurs looked like Pokemon. I was like, this is definitely a Pokemon right here. And then there was also this like massive duck looking dinosaur, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's Jar Jar Binks from Star Wars. Like, I was like, what? I was like, do you think that that's what Jar Jar Binks was like, inspiration? That's where it came from? Or was this, anyway, so there was like basically, if you can imagine a huge dinosaur with a duck kind of bill, that's what it was. And I'm not gonna lie, it freaked me out a little bit. So anyway, had a fun time, went out for dinner, early night, lovely jubbly. Next day, jet lag was still jet lagging, so we got up super early. Also before I put it out there, because I am going to be doing a New York vlog. I don't know when it will be up. I still need to edit it. I am literally recording this podcast the day after I came home, because I was like, I need to tell the people, I need to chat to my friends, tell them about my trip. Also, I'm one of those people that just, I as soon as I get home from a holiday or a vacation or a work trip, I'm that person that will do my washing, unpack my suitcase, do my laundry or whatever as soon as I get home. So I'm like, okay, let's get back on the social media grind. Let's get stuff done. Like, I feel not guilty, but whenever I go away, I do feel a bit guilty that even though I was working while I was away, I'm like, okay, of course I need to do things, you know. I'm not a day off kind of gal. If even on my day off, I am Mrs. Productive. I am gardening. I am, do you know what I mean? Doing my scrapbooking. Like, I'm doing something, you know. Anyway, so I do need to at some stage, hopefully soon, edit my New York vlog. So there we go. So keep your eyes peeled for that. My dad, Davide, he does make a little appearance. Also, talking about Davide, he tried every single time you went and got coffee and they asked for his name, he said Davide. Not a single person wrote down Davide. They either put down David, Dave. One person just put Dad, which, you know, maybe I would have been quite happy with that if I was with him, because they would have been like, oh, that's cute, it's a dad with his daughter. No, he was just there on his own. So obviously he was giving dad energy. Anyways, so nobody knew Davide. I mean, a lot of people struggle with my nickname at Border Control. They were like, are you Esme? A lot of people say Esme, like, because it's E-S-M-E, like S. And I'm like, no, it's Esme. Anyway, maybe I need to put a Z in my name. To be fair, Americans, you guys like to put a lot of Z's in things, or should I say Z's? Sorry. There's a lot of Z's in a lot of your words. So anyway, moving on. What was I chatting about? Oh yeah, New York vlog. So that will be coming out soon. If you want to see my dad reveal. Also, I did a little mini dad reveal on the clock app. I was like, Dad, can you be in this clock talk? And he was like, yeah, sure. Sorry, I'm saying it in like a really weird way because some platforms don't like it. If I talk about other ones, they get jealous, like an ex-boyfriend. Anyway, so I was like, can you be in this little video for the funsies? Because basically it was this trend where everyone was like, oh, I wish I was like the expensive child or the expensive daughter. Oh wait, I am. And I did that, and it was like, oh, I wish I was the expensive child. Oh wait, it was something like, I can't even remember what I put. It was something along the lines of like, my dad is my employee, I pay his wages, #girl boss. And so many of you absolutely loved that. I almost didn't post it. It was just one of those things where it wasn't like a master plan. I just saw it pop up and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to do that, but with my dad. So there we go. After 10 years of doing social media, we finally have a Davide reveal. Anyway, so he'll probably be in the vlog. But anyway, first like full day, if that makes sense, in New York. We went to the top of the rock. Now, controversial. Some people, their go-to in New York is you have to go up the Empire State Building. But the thing is, when you're up the Empire State Building, what do you not have the view of? The Empire State Building. So if you go to the top of the rock, which I know isn't as tall, but you then get the view of the Empire State Building on one side, and then you get the view of Central Park on the other side. So all I'm saying is, I think Top of the Rock is better. Controversial, I know. Let me know which team you are. But anyway, so we went to the top there. One thing I would say is bring a hairband, because it was super windy. We tried to get some really cute photos, but my hair, it was going everywhere. It wasn't like, oh, cute little wind, like she looks like she's in a hair product advert. No, I looked like I'd been dragged through a hedge. So yeah, maybe bring a hairband. So anyway, after that I had some meetings downtown. That was quite fun. Can't talk about that. Secret. Did some photo shoots. I'm trying to think. I was about to say, I'm trying to think what else we did. We actually got a lot done. We were productive. We went for a big walk. We went to I think it's called the Chelsea Market. It's the Chelsea, yeah. Because I basically just went on my phone and was like, what should I do in New York? Look up videos. Because I've been before, there were like some museums that I've been to before, which is like, I remember that really well. I don't need to do that again. Or like a lot of things I was like, done that, ticked it off. So I did feel like we did a lot of like touristy things still though. So anyway, we went to, I want to call it the Skyline. It's called the High Line. It's because at Alton Towers, which is a theme park in the UK, there's like a little cable car thing called the Skyline, I'm pretty sure. And I kept wanting to call it that, but no, it's called the High Line. And it's an old kind of, like train track that you can walk across, but they've kind of made it into really pretty gardens. There's like grasses and flowers and trees, and you're like up with the skyscrapers and you're kind of walking through the skyscrapers. So I would recommend doing that if you want to do something a little different. That was really pretty. And yeah, we got food at Chelsea Market. So if you're a foodie person, I think we ended up getting tacos and an Oreo cheesecake. But they have like loads of different restaurants or like different kind of like food stand stalls kind of thing. So if you're with people that are picky and you all want to eat different food, then it's one of those things where you can just like pop in and grab some food from different things. Or like I would recommend getting like a small portion from lots of different places, and then you can have like New York tapas. You can have a little bit of everything. And then we walked the High Line. And then after that, we were a bit tired. We'd done our like 25,000 steps. We were going to we went to like a little mall on the way, like as a little stop off, had coffee, obviously, because Davide needs his coffee to keep him going. And then that evening we went and had a drink at the Gossip Girl bar because number one, I wanted to go in there because of the show. And it was pricey. It was very, very pricey, but we're on our holidays, kind of. I mean, it was kind of a work trip as well, but we were like, we're on our holidays. We're just going to have like one drink there just to be able to sit there. And I'm not going to say who it is, but I saw a famous social media person's husband in there, which was cool. I mean, I think he was in there with his parents. It wasn't like scandalous. He's in there with somebody else. It wasn't like that. But I was texting my brother's girlfriend, Georgina. I was like, oh my gosh, you will never believe who I saw at the bar. So did not go and take a photo with them because, I don't know, I feel like them at a bar with their friends, like, you know, I wasn't like a big super fan, like I need to take a photo of them, but it was cool. That was the only famous person I saw in New York. So there we go. And some people would question if they're even famous, but moving on. Then after that, Dad was like, also, Dad, when we go on holiday, he is very easy breezy. He's like, you just tell me where we're going to go and I'll go. I think part of that is laziness because he's like, I don't want to, he's laughing now. He's like, oi. He's like, I don't want to do all the research and find out where to go. He's like, you're on the internet all the time. You just tell me where's the like cool hot girl place to go and I'll just, you know, follow it. Also, a lot of you guys gave me suggestions. I put a little story post up about where should I go in New York. So a lot of the vlog and a lot of the places that we went to is from your suggestions. So thank you for all of your excellent suggestions. And then there was this one place that you guys all recommended. Even one of my best friends, Lydia, she recommended when she went to New York, and I was like, okay, Dad. I did take him out to a few bars beforehand, because I was like, I know this is not going to be your thing, but we're going to do it. And he was like, okay. I was like, we don't have to do it. There's a super long queue. And he was like, what do you mean super long queue? What is this thing? What is this thing that you're taking me to? So we ended up going to the Ellen Stardust Diner. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's a restaurant in New York that's kind of like a diner-style restaurant, but you can't book it. You can't make a reservation. You just have to turn up and wait in line or queue until it's your turn to go in. And the best way I can describe it is, honestly, I was not shocked. I think maybe starstruck is the right word, because you go in and you have like your server or waiter or whatever, like you do in a normal restaurant, they take your order, that kind of thing. And so, but then suddenly they just jump up on the tables and start singing like Broadway songs or popular pop songs, that kind of thing. And they are the most incredible singers I have ever heard in my life, like honestly. So, and then like your server will come back, like nothing happened, be like, oh, do you guys need any like sauces or need a refill? And I'm like, girl, you just sang like an angel, and now you're asking if I want any ketchup. Like, what is this? Like, honestly, I was starstruck once my server came back, and I was like, girl, you probably hear this all the time, but you are incredible at singing. So a lot of the waiters actually, or servers, they end up like in Broadway shows. So a lot of the time that they'll work at this restaurant, do all their singing, that kind of thing, and often that's a way for them to get like cast in Broadway shows. So that is very, very cool. So that's one thing that like I don't think we have anything like that in the UK. Like it's very American, like very American diner, American food, that kind of thing. And also in the UK we're a bit more reserved, so we're used to like more quiet kind of restaurants. So for like people to be out there like belting Broadway songs, I was like, Dad, I don't know if this is gonna be your thing. But honestly, it was one of my favourite nights because he absolutely loved it. He was having a great time. They were like singing all these songs and he was like singing it with them. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was not expecting this from Davide. But here we are. He is having a blast. So yeah, I like most places, it is like the food is a little bit more expensive than you would do at a normal diner, but it's worth it for the songs. So if you do have a spare night, I would say we didn't actually wait that long, to be fair. We were only a two, so we did get to go in front of a few families because they obviously needed a bigger table. So yeah, we asked the guy like, oh, like how long do you think the line is going to be? And he was like, oh, no time at all. And we thought, yeah, right. That's your job is to stand here and be like, oh, it's no time at all. Just get in the queue, that kind of thing. Also, a lot of people got in the queue and then they were like, oh, wait, this isn't for the Broadway show. And we were like, no, that's around the corner. So a lot of people actually disappeared because they were queuing for the wrong thing. So anyway, we're waiting in line, and we were probably waiting in line like the length of the diner, and we got in like 10-15 minutes max, which I would say was worth it. We're having a good time. We were just standing there, people watching. Tell you what, New York is a great place to people watch. I love people watching. It is so much fun. So anyway, we did a little bit of that. There were a few times where it did get super busy, especially when it got later at night. I was like clinging onto my dad's arm, like, do not leave me. I'm going to get lost in the sea of people. But no, so yeah, Ellen Stardust Diner, a little bit different, but was good fun. Would obviously, it's like not for everybody, but if you love kind of musical theatre, West End, Broadway kind of stuff, would recommend. Okay, what else did we do after that? Next day, we got up and we were like, okay, we need to have like a proper American breakfast, because before that we would normally just like pop into a coffee shop, grab coffee and like a pastry or that kind of thing. We're like, no, we need to have a proper American breakfast. So I had pancakes, my dad had French toast. I feel like people are either a pancake person or a waffle person, so let me know in the comments, you team pancake or team waffle, or mystery third option, French toast, which is what my dad went for. So I went for the pancakes. Was very good. I feel like when you go to the US, you've got to have some like proper American pancakes. Controversial, don't hate me for this. I am more of a crepe person, but when you're in the US, you got to be a pancake person. Anyway, so after that, we then hopped in a taxi and we went to the 9/11 Memorial and also the 9/11 Memorial Museum. And if you do go to New York, that is the one thing that I would definitely recommend that you have to go to. It's such a beautiful memorial. They've done it so well, and the museum as well. We did do the museum last time we went, and I'm so glad that we did it again, because I don't know, it actually, me and my dad, we got very emotional when we were like in there. I honestly like all the drawings that the kids have done for like their parents that are no longer with them, like stuff like that. Honestly, it was hard hitting. So would 100% recommend going. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about it too much because I would rather people go there and donate to the museum and actually go and see it in the flesh, but would definitely recommend, especially as it's something for me that I was alive during it, but I don't have any memory of it during that time because I was born in 2001, so it was only like a few months old. But it was really interesting talking to my dad about it because he remembers it so well. He was at work, he was in like the work staff room, he watched it on the TV, and you know, it's a part of history that we need to remember. And yeah, so go and check it out. Go to the museum, would definitely recommend. And if, you know, it's one of those things where actually it wasn't that long ago. It was 24 years ago. So when it comes to history, that really was not long ago at all. For me, it feels like a long time ago because I don't remember it. But yeah, go to the museum, go to the 9/11 Memorial Museum, would definitely recommend. Anyway, after that, on a lighter note, we went and got some juices. So we were like, okay, we've had our big American breakfast. We need to have something a little bit healthy. So I don't know if many people know this, there's been a few times where my dad has actually sneezed and we've had to do a few little pauses in today's episode because hay fever season is here and my dad gets hay fever quite bad, but he also has something called all allergy syndrome. Now some people will listen to this and they're like, oh my gosh, I have that and I didn't even know I had it. Now this is often, it's linked with hay fever and it's also linked with being allergic to certain fruits. So my dad basically is allergic to all fruits and vegetables if they're raw. If they're cooked, he's fine. So like an apple crumble, easy peasy. But if an apple is raw, then he will swell up like the Michelin Man. So we went into this smoothie bar and he was like, oh, this might be a little bit difficult for me because obviously a lot of smoothies, he cannot have because they contain fruits and vegetables that are raw. So luckily the lady at the smoothie bar was so lovely, and she made him a smoothie that didn't have strawberries in, because he can't have strawberries, but he can have pineapple, he can have mango, and he can have banana. So that was his smoothie. And then my smoothie, I actually went for a green juice, and my dad was like, if I had one drop of that, I think I would die. So in my green juice, I'm not normally a green juice kind of person. I do actually quite like one of the green juices that they have at Wagamama's, but I'm pretty sure that's also got a lot of fruit in, so it looks green, but it's not actually like a green juice. It's like a smoothie. But anyway, so this one had like spinach and celery and cucumber, and my dad is like pulling a face because honestly that would just be horrible for him. But top tip, put some pineapple in it and it just tastes like pineapple. It was great. It also had like lime and apples. The apples made it taste like apple juice as well, so it made it taste nicer. So anyway, had my little green juice, went for a little walk. We went to go and see the Statue of Liberty. Now I know that's like a tourist, you have to go and see the Statue of Liberty, you have to go on the boat. Dad and I'm just gonna say it, this is controversial again, we are not boat people. I cannot think of anything worse than voluntarily going on a boat that's packed with tourists and people. You are confined onto this boat for like at least an hour, crammed in with all these people. That honestly is probably one of my worst nightmares. So what did we do? We went to this park and stood on our tippy toes, because for some reason at the moment, my New Yorkers will know, that basically the whole kind of riverbank where the Statue of Liberty is, where you can like view out to it, they've put all fences up. Like, they are doing some construction, so I kind of understand. But you can't, I mean, I saw it enough. I saw it with my eyes at the top of the rock. I saw it with my eyes on the riverbank, standing on my tippy toes over this fence. And that was enough for me. You know, I'm not that bothered about getting on a boat to see it. You know, I've seen it. I've ticked it off my bucket list. I've seen the Statue of Liberty, but I don't need to go right up to her. Like, I'm going to give the girl some space. I also saw her on the plane when we were landing in as well. So that was enough for me. If you're hardcore, get on that boat, go and have a good time and see her. But for me, we just had a little distance, said hello. So we did that. And then after that, one thing I didn't actually do in New York, which a lot of people told me to do, was get a bagel. Okay, controversial. I don't really like bagels. Oh my goodness, somebody tell her off. Anyway, so yes, I'm not fussy when it comes to food. I'll eat most things, like even spicy food, fine with that, as long as it's not like 3 chili spicy. If it's like medium at Nando's, then that's fine. My British people will know what I mean when I say medium at Nando's. Anything hotter than that is probably a little bit too much for me. But I can do more than just a lemon and herb, you know. So anyway, medium spicy is fine. But sorry, back to my when I go out with people, often like one of the things that they ask me is, are there any foods that you don't eat? Now for me, normally I just say no, which is true. Apart from coleslaw. Coleslaw is my worst enemy. I mean, I probably could eat coleslaw and I'd be fine, and I wouldn't spit it out. But if I can avoid it, I will avoid coleslaw at all costs. But I would say sandwiches are probably my least favourite food, which everyone's like, Esme, how can you not like sandwiches? I just sometimes say I'm a bit fussy with sandwiches, you know, because often they've been hanging about, they're all soggy or either super dry or sometimes both, and I don't even know how that's physically possible. And like the fillings in them, they're always like the weirdest combinations, or just like they always put something in there like mustard and they just ruin it. Or like, do you know what I mean? Like, I've never seen someone go, oh yeah, this is my dream sandwich selection. There's always something where you're like, oh, why have they done that? Anyway, so sandwiches are probably some of my least favourite food.
Finding a new job is stressful. But with Indeed, it doesn't have to be. Just fill out your Indeed profile with your skills, experience, and desired salary. The more you fill out, the better your matches will be. And hearing from hiring managers will be 2 times more likely. Relax. That's your Indeed profile sending opportunities your way. Indeed, the world can work better.
USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks, or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Visit USAA.com/bundle.
Bundle savings are off total premium, not available in all states or in all situations. To qualify, auto policy must be active prior to property policy issue, subject to change. Restrictions apply. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
Toasties, on the other hand, Toasties are like the hotter older brother of sandwiches. Like a normal sandwich, that's like a 6 out of 10. But if you make it a toasty, like a cheese toasty or a cheese and tomato toasty, oh my gosh, that is now a 10 out of 10. I feel like most foods, if they're just warm or toasted or roasted, they are 10 times better. Normal carrot, 6 out of 10. Roasted honey glazed carrots, 10 out of 10. Oh, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Warm or toasted things are so much better. So when it comes to salad season, like, don't get me wrong, I do like a good salad. But do you know what's nicer? Roasted vegetables. So at my house, when I'm cooking dinner for myself, I never cook myself salad. I always go for like roasted vegetables. Like, I'm a healthy girl. I love my peas. I love my sweet corn. I love my carrots. Like, I'm always having vegetables. But I just like them roasted or cooked. So anyway, that's my little pet peeve of today for you all. So I did not have a bagel. I feel like bagel, they're all right, you know? But would I rather have a lovely, warm, cheesy slice of New York pizza? 100%. So that's what I had. I did have New York pizza, so don't worry, guys. I did have that. I also had a lot of tacos when I was in New York for some reason. But that was also good. Also got ramen. That's the beauty of going to like big cities like New York, is that they literally have all the foods. Any food you want. You want sushi? They got sushi. I'm a small town girl, so for me, this was like my dream. I could go and have whatever food I liked. It was brilliant. So then after that, what did we do that afternoon on our second day? We went and watched a Broadway, which I feel like is, again, a bucket list thing. We literally, it was like the day that we got there, we were like, what should we do in New York? We were such type B people on this trip, because normally, I don't know if you know the phrase, like type A people, people that they're like, everything needs to be planned to the minute, everything is super organized, which I would say I'm a type A person. I mean, I was literally just saying, like, even on my days off, I do things, I have a to-do list. But on this trip, I think we were just like, oh my gosh, Kentucky, working at there, boom, 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 so busy. We were like, New York's New York. We know that we've been before. We know the things to do. We'll just see how we feel today on jet lag and everything. So we were type B people, which they're a little bit more relaxed, they're a little bit more spontaneous, they a little bit more go with the flow, you know. So anyway, we ended up booking Broadway show, and it was great. If you ever get the chance to go and see anything on Broadway in the US, if you're in New York, or on the West End, if you're in London, would recommend. I'm not going to say which one I went to, but I want to see what sort of person you think I am. So let me know in the comments. Guess which one I went to go and see. Anyway, after that, we had a little bit of a later night, obviously, 'cause we watched a show. And again, my dad is not really like much of a musical theatre person, but he really enjoyed it. So anyway, then it came to our last day. And our last day, obviously, we had to get our flight back. So we had a little bit more of a chilled one. We did some shopping, actually. This sounds really bad, but most people, even the guy at the hotel who was helping us take our bags, he was like, oh, is she, like, he literally turned to my dad and went, oh, is she going to be spending all your money on this trip? And I was like, excuse me, I pay as well. I didn't actually say that. And I was like, oh, no, we're just doing sightseeing. We're probably not going to do much shopping. He even said, again, we picked up our bags. I was like, dude, do I look like I'm somebody that just takes somebody else's money? Like, honestly. So no, one thing I did not do, I did like window shopping, but I didn't actually buy anything while I was in New York, which I feel like it's not a crime, but I feel like most people, like when there are that many shops, they're like, girl, do some shopping. But I found a lot of shops were more expensive in America. I know. Especially as I went into Mango, because sometimes they have some like cute dresses and things. Went into there, and I found, because I've been to Mango in, like, I think it was in Spain, and I remember going in there and being like, oh my gosh, this is so much cheaper than the UK. Then in the UK it's a little bit more expensive, but in America, oh my gosh, the prices were like double. And then I came to the conclusion, I was like, oh my gosh, wait a second, this isn't even including tax, because that's one thing that's like a little bit of a culture shock to me, is going to the till to buy something and then it's more expensive than you expected, because in the UK the tax is just added to the price. So when you're shopping for things, you don't have to do like the maths calculation of how much more it's going to be. So that's one thing that always, like, I'm like, have I done my maths wrong? Like, especially if you're paying with like cash as well. I'm like, wait a second, I need more money than I expected. But anyway, so I didn't actually buy anything because everything seemed really expensive to me, which I don't want to be like, everyone be like, oh, Esme, you're so broke, you didn't buy anything. But like I don't know, to be fair, a few podcasts ago, I did do like my summer shop, so I am all good. Like, don't want to be overconsumption. So anyway, there we go. What else? We went for another little hot girl walk in Central Park. We also got some crumble cookies because so many of you in the comments like, Esme, you need to try crumble cookies. Now, I would say these are like proper American like sugar cookies. Actually, they were all like very different. There was the funniest thing was my dad chose the I always pronounce this wrong, dulce de leche one. And that had cinnamon in, and he hates cinnamon. So that was quite funny because he was like, no, because I was going to go for the Oreo one. He was like, no, we need to go for this one, which he would have liked the Oreo one because he loves chocolate. That's his favourite. I was like, okay, we'll go for this one. Then didn't even like it. Selfish. Anyway, so we tried our crumble cookies. If you want to see the crumble cookie taste test with my dad, then that will be in the New York vlog coming soon. And then after that, we went home. Oh my gosh, our taxi journey from New York to the airport was one of the worst journeys ever. We were stuck behind this like school bus, and the traffic, you know, when the traffic is like stop, go, stop, go, stop, go. And I just got really car sick. And we're behind this, school bus. And I don't know what was coming out of its exhaust pipe, but it smelled bad. It was not good. I was like, one thing, I think after being in New York for so long, one thing that by the end of the trip, I was just like, I need some countryside. One of the things that I noticed so much when I actually got out of the taxi from the airport back in the UK was, oh my gosh, like the farm, my mum and dad's farm just smells like blossom right now. All the blossom is out. It was so nice. And yeah, I was like, get me back to the countryside. But I had the most incredible time, and I'm so, so grateful to have gone on this trip and got to see you guys and go to Kentucky. So yeah, thank you again to Charles Owen and Lemire for making it possible for us to go to Kentucky. And also, thank you to Redpost for sponsoring the podcast. Go and check them out at redpostequestrian.co.uk. And I really hope you enjoyed hearing about my trip and what I got up to. It was a lot of fun, but at the end of the day, there really is no place like home. So thank you for listening, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!